Hey there, good morning. It's a little bit early. It's been Thanksgiving here in the United States. Lots of good things happened over the weekend in Abu Dhabi with ECFIT athletes. Taylor Knipp came third in the world for the WTCS series. She did that with very few races, so we're pretty stoked about Taylor's ability to get on that podium with both the gold and silver medal winner from Tokyo. The other great big pleasant, not surprise for sure, was Morgan Pearson getting on the podium in the grand final in the WTCS race in Abu Dhabi. Morgan ran an amazing 5K, but there was a lot of other really good things that happened in his race. So really happy about that. And then this weekend, we have one more big race here in the U.S. It'll be Indian Wells, 70.3, and we've got both Paula Finley and Eric Lagerstrom racing in the desert. So that, hopefully they'll go have a good time there. There's not a lot of pressure on that race. They're both ready to go, but at the same time, some people that might have been their A race. I think it's just a great way to end the season. We've got a few athletes doing Clash. I think it's Miami. It might be, I think it's Miami, but it might be Daytona. So I'll double check that. We'll talk about that next Monday. So I'm a little bit early. I'm a little sore. So I'm happy to be hosting Monday Mobility this morning and starting down with the legs. But I'm going to go right from the lower leg with this foam rolling today, right to the upper back, up through the upper back and neck. I've been spending a lot of time on the computer. Maybe you've been traveling, and just so you know, if your low back doesn't usually light up, but you're starting to maybe increase some of that off-season mileage in zone 1 and zone 2 on the bicycle, or doing some good hikes with friends, some different areas of the body are going to talk to you. And as we always talk about on Mobility Monday, the most important thing is to not let that tightness get away from us. And know how to deal with it. So I often say, if the feet and ankles aren't happy, ain't nobody happy. So we want to always start with the lower leg, a little bit of foam roller, okay? So making sure that the feet, the toes, the ankles are kind of ready to go. Next thing we're going to do is work through that upper back every single time. This is probably my favorite one. It's probably a little bit of lifestyle management here. We've got to take care of the thoracic spine. We're going to spend a lot of time with that tonight, or this morning here in Boulder. So hands behind the head. When the chest is tight, the elbows are going to be forward. So don't force anything, but let those elbows just flop to the side and to the back. And just let that front side of the body open up. We can do so much good work with the breath as well. Good, a little side toggle. And it tells me I'm on the right path because both pecs feel really pretty tight today. So we're just gonna roll back and forth through that upper back. And then let's get right into the lats. Off-season strength program. Once again, your muscles are going to react a little bit differently than they do in season. It's because hopefully we're just changing the entire athlete. That's the nice thing about the off season. It's the time to get under some good load. It's the time to get some physical strength back and just some overall athleticism, and how strength work can play so well into serving us in next year's endurance season. So some of you guys are in South Africa, some in Australia, knowing that you're just getting started. You're getting into your in season, but we've been taking good care of you, and we'll keep just focusing on moving well on Mondays. So we're not going to shift the focus of Mondays, because no matter what season you are in, you have to move well, right? Just working through those lats. And good. We're going to go right to the half kneeling position. Keep your foam roller close. Okay, I've got a 3-footer, but if you've only got a short foam roller, you're still going to be just fine. So right here, let's go into the 90-90 half kneeling position. We're going to deal with a little bit of the upper body and how it interacts with the pelvis. So as we go into that knee over toe with the right knee in front, we want to address this length right here. So we're just going to add a little bit of heat to that with some gentle, I'm going to call it bouncing, but it's not bouncing. It's just rhythmic movement into that back hip. And we'll just go 10, and then let's hit the other side. So the way to really focus on that in making sure that you're getting good range of motion is to make sure that the heel is underneath of the knee, and then you're pushing that knee over the toe. It's a pretty safe place to do that. And then you want to be getting good length and maybe a little bit of tension in that back hip. Nice and steady. Just going to go for 10 reps here. And good. All right. Working through the upper back. We're going to do the same thing. Grab your foam roller, even if you have a short foam roller. Grab the ends of it. We're going to put it down on that lower hip. The right knee is going over toe. Foam roller is going up and away through the upper back. We're going to get good thoracic gliding here. 3, 4, make sure that back hand, this right hand, is really high. 5, 6, 7, 8. This pattern right here is called a PNF pattern. 9 and 10. So we've got half kneeling, PNF. All right, so same thing other side. Right knee is down, foam roller on the right hip. Take it across. Try to keep those elbows nice and straight so the triceps don't take up what we want to influence on the scapula in the back side of the body. 7, 8, 9, one more, and 10. Okay, put the foam roller off to the side. Don't let it go too far. Don't let it run away. Okay, back to that 90-90 position. This time, you want to get a nice wide base of support. So when you do your 90-90, make sure that you're not really narrow, okay? So make sure you have a nice wide base of support. We're going to go knee over toe, right there, and then 2 hands overhead, and then we're also going to look up. And then come all the way back. Let's do that same thing. So just dealing with that vestibular system, you can get a little bit lightheaded there as the eyes lose the horizon, but just, we want to get nice and long through the front of the neck. Okay, little side view where everything's going after the pelvis, everything's going after the position of the pelvis and the hip flexors. Okay, right knee down, left knee over toe, 2 hands overhead, and look up. And come back. Let's go nice and slow, one more time, each side. Right foot out, right knee over toe, 2 hands overhead. And come all the way back. Good. And we're just taking our time through this motion. Looks a little bit like yoga. I am totally not a yoga person. I think if yoga works for you, you should totally keep doing it. I have no opinion one way or the other than I'm probably a little bit too much like this to teach yoga. Okay, ready? And some of you might have noticed my back foot. Last time I tucked my big toe under. This time we're just letting that foot lay flat. It's good to have variability in these movements. There's no rules, okay? Let that go together. 2 hands overhead. And just let that front side go. So you don't need multiple repetitions there. You just need to make sure you can get there. All right, so from a full kneeling position, let's go into half kneeling. Lateral half kneeling. Make sure that all the toes are on the ground. We're gonna just hip hinge here. So I want you to push your hips back and then let them come forward. So 2 hands on the ground. Give you a side angle here. The focus is that the hips go back. Hips go back. 2, 3. Lift your head up just a little bit. Don't hang your head. 4, 5. We're going to go 10. 6. Let's start to walk those hands further out in front. 7. Keep the eyes up just a little bit. 8. 9 and 10. So just paying attention and getting to know the body and getting to know how you feel. What I felt was less inner thigh, less adductor, and more of that lateral hamstring on that side. And that's going to tell me, just knowing from where the hamstrings attach on that sits bone, that what's called the ischial tuberosity. When my hamstrings are starting to light up from this position, what I'm going to start to think about is pelvic position, because the adductors attach way up inferior inside on the pubic ramus. And so when you get hamstring lighting up, you're going to start suspecting anterior tilt of pelvis. And when you start to get that, you're going to start getting this even more tightness through the hip flexors. So you just want to be conscious of it, and you want to deal with it with your mobility. Okay? So hands just right nice and under the shoulders. Push the hips back. This side is different. My left side, I'm getting much more inner thigh here. 3, 4, 5. It would be nice if we were a mirror image, right side, left side of the body, but we're not. So your right side, and different things happen to different sides of the body. Not to beat a dead horse or anything, but I broke my left ankle. 5 years before that, I broke my right ankle. So my legs are definitely different. And that means my hips are different. That means my shoulders are different, right? So it's not anything bad or good, it just is. And so we just deal with it. And we have to pay attention. Okay, working through the upper back, 2 hands on the outside. Push the hips back in that half kneeling position. If your right leg is out, your right hand is reaching under. Push the hips back, come right back. Push the hips back, come right back. Don't just stay here. You gotta do that hip hinge, okay? Push the hips back. Here we go. 5, 6, we're gonna go 10, 7, 8, 9, and one more, and 10. Same thing other side. From right here, push the hips back, left leg is out, all the toes are on the ground here. Want to work that ankle mobility. Left arm underneath. 1, 2, 3. Push the hips back every time. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, good. All right. So this position in the world of strength and conditioning is usually known as the prisoner position, because I imagine that if you got arrested, this is how they ask you to put your hands. I don't like that word, so I'm actually going to change it. I'm going to call it double arm relax. Relax. Okay, so we got 2 hands behind the head, right there. What I want you to do, touch the elbows to the front, and then extend and open up to the back. We got 10 of those. Right leg is up. Touch the elbows and back. 2, 3, double arm relax. 4, 5, starting to round that upper back a little bit. Protract or spread out the shoulder blades. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. From that position, you might want to shake those arms out, keeping the elbows back. We're going to push the hips back, but keep the chest up, all right? So all toes staying on the ground. Push the hips back. We're getting that right hamstring. 2, if your right leg is in front. 3, keep that chest open. 4, 5, keep going. If that bothers your shoulder to be in this position, take your hands, put them into that duck position, double arm on the low back. 6, 7, 8, just keep pushing your hips back. 9, your hands can be in either position. 10, or you can do what I did and switch at 5. Okay, other side. Left leg in front of right. 2 hands, double arm, relax. Ready? Elbows to the back, squeeze the shoulder blades. Drop back, chest stays up. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Let's change the hand position if you want to. You can always stay with your hands up top. Double arm here. 1. Keep the elbows way to the back. 2, 3, 4, and 5. And good. Okay, so from right here, I've got a wall. If you've got a wall near you, use it. Okay? So I want to get the right knee as close to the wall as you can. We've got your left foot. If you had double fists, you probably would need 1 extra fist. So you would have 3 fists. 1, 2, 3. If you have a yoga block, you could stick a yoga block right between you and the wall. So right side is up against the wall, right knee down, left knee away from the wall. From right there, we want to be able to go right here so that that knee doesn't flare out. All right? So we want this to be parallel to the wall. 2 hands, double arm, relax. And from right here, we're just going to push the hip back and come to the knee and come right back. Does that make sense? Right elbow to left knee. 2. And then a little bit of extension if you got it. 3. 4. Here's that extension. And 5. And good. Okay, so stay on the wall. I'm going to give you a front view. Left knee is down, right knee is up. If we were on the wall right here, we'd be able to put a yoga block in its longest form between this knee and the wall, okay? From right here, double arm, relax, turn, so you can see I'm almost perpendicular. Some of you will be perpendicular, some of you will be stuck right about there. So if you can't get all the way to here, it's just going to be something over time. We want to give you more of this. All right? So right there, we're just going to push the hips back and drop that left elbow to the right knee. And I'm just being careful with that because that's a little harder for me. 2, and back. 3, getting easier. 4, definitely getting that into my right hamstring. And 5. Okay, let's go one more time each side. You're on the wall, okay? I'm going to stay front view just to keep things balanced for me. Okay, so you would be right knee down, right side is on the wall, okay? Double arm, relax. Push your hips back. Rotate. 1, 2, and back. 3, and back. 4, and back. One more. And 5, and back. All right. Other side. Left knee down, right knee up. Yoga block between the wall and the right knee. Hands up, double arm relax. Hips back. 1, 2. Now I can use the wall to help me balance. 3, 4, and 5. And good. And you start to realize when you get more mobility through your thoracic spine, how tightness through the shoulders, lack of motion in the shoulder blades can really start impacting the hips. So often all we do is go after the hips, and you have to remember that tight lats, lack of motion in your shoulder blades will definitely take away some motion within the pelvic complex and the hips. So right here, let's go ahead and we just want to get a nice wide stance, 2 times shoulder width, and we're just going to rotate hips across. This is hip decoupling. You should feel this right hip drops and then my left hip drops. Right now, my right hip is dropping much nicer than my left. Interesting. 2, 3, means I'm going to foam roll my left hip. 5, this is just freer. 6, 7, and 8. All right, grab that foam roller. Let's get on the hips. Notice when we started this session, we foam rolled the lower leg and we foam rolled the thoracic spine. And now I'm noticing that when I do my hip decoupling, my left hip is a little stuck. So what I'm feeling, it's just so you can relate here, you want to feel your hip bones, the pointy part of your hip. And when you rotate across, this hip, I don't know if it necessarily comes up, but this hip definitely drops. And it just drops. And that's your SI joint gliding in the back. When you go the other way, this hip should drop almost equal or as free, and it's a little stuck. So let's go ahead and finish this session with a little bit of hip foam rolling. There's no right or wrong about hip foam rolling. You do not have to do it first, second, third, fourth. You just need to know your body, and you need to say, I could use a little more of that. So let's get right after lefty. Been doing some single leg pedaling as well. So I think I'm starting to notice that my leg here, my left side, which might have been a little bit shut off, just neurologically not functioning as well as it usually does because of the left broken ankle, even though it was 5 months ago. Now, said another way, is that right? July, August, September, October. 4 months ago. No, we're almost at the end of November. 5 months. So I broke it right before July 4th. So right here, everything's coming back. So it's going to get stronger, which is great, but it's also going to have a response along the way. We all know that the path to here is not a straight line, right? Getting better and better. It's going to have these little waves along the way. So let's foam roll lefty, and then let's foam roll righty. That righty just feels a little bit freer. Even just putting my foot on the knee is just easier on this side. So, there's nothing wrong with this. I just have to understand the path, the journey, is that there'll be tightness along the way. Have to deal with that tightness. So when I put that, I grabbed it with my hand because it just won't go as free. And even there I can feel tightness. So we want that freedom of the hip decoupling. That's going to help with running. I've also been upping my running volume a little bit. So everything kind of makes sense. I'm not too worried. And nor should you. If you have any specific questions, put them in the comments. For now, we've got one more big race, big Ironman race, half Ironman in Indian Wells. Send your best to Paula and Eric, That Triathlon Life. Give them a little shout out. I'm sure you watch their show. It's amazing. If you don't, get on it. Other than that, Happy Thanksgiving, one more weekend. We're on our way to the big holidays here in December. So hopefully everybody's doing great. Have a super Monday. See you next week.